So we finally have another Scooby-Doo animated movie, and it was good, but I was just expecting so much more from it. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel, Lifestyle Critic. I hope you're having a brilliant day. So in this video, we are going to be reviewing Trick or Treat Scooby-Doo, which is the latest animated Scooby-Doo straight-to-video release, and this is a Halloween special, another Halloween special, as they used to release these 3 times a year, and now it seems as if they're just doing it once a year, and therefore I just expected so much more from this movie. Like I said, you know, it does have some decent parts. I mean, the first half of this movie, I was just yearning for so much more, but you know, as it was progressing, it did get a lot better. But that being said, it was really predictable in terms of what the final reveal was going to be, and also the art style is taken from the latest Scooby-Doo animated series, Guess Who, and it is set in the past, and you know, all of those things I just think didn't really work for me personally, as I just love the more modern style, the more modern age type of storylines, and like I said, I just feel like this movie just left me wanting so much more from it, but I'm going to be breaking it all down for you in this movie review. So this film takes place in 2001, and Mystery Incorporated seemingly have closed their biggest case to date with Coco Diablo, who is the costume maker for all of the villains that they do apprehend in every single episode. So the fact that they have got Coco Diablo just means that they have achieved greatness, but the consequence of this is that there are no longer any more villains and mysteries for them to solve, which is just so fascinating, as they then all kind of experience a bit of an existential crisis in terms of what are they without solving all of these mysteries, and in particular, the impact of this is most felt by Fred, as he is going through a bit of depression and feeling really lost without all of this. I mean, we have seen this storyline thread playing in other straight-to-video animated movies for Scooby-Doo, and of course in Mystery Incorporated as well, but I think it's so interesting seeing this, and contrastingly seeing the freedom and the enjoyment that Scooby and Shaggy are experiencing as a result of this as well. But when a mystery does pop its head, they are dealing with doppelganger versions of themselves, along with the fact of having this identity crisis. So, you know, the storyline setup is pretty decent in this film, but like I said, they could have just done a little bit more with it. But let's talk about the positives first. So it was really nice to kind of see something a little bit different and to see it being shaken up a little bit while still keeping the traditional formula intact. And obviously, because this is set during their early days, they are in their hometown of Coolsville. And the reason that I absolutely love the straight-to-video animated movies is that they can just go on for a little bit longer, so they can make their mysteries pretty layered, which this one definitely is. And of course, the thing that everybody is talking about with this particular release is that it really does explore Velma as being a lesbian straight on, head on, which is just so fascinating. However, from a negative point of view, given the brilliant premise, I just feel like they could have pushed it so much more, as like I said, the final reveal was so predictable. And I feel like it takes a little bit of a backward step, as both Mystery Incorporated and Zombie Island have really showed that Scooby-Doo is at its best when it does delve into the darker aspects of this world, of the characters, of the things that they have to go through. And like I said, even though this movie does tap into it a little bit better than other ones have done for sure, I just feel like overall it just could have done it in a much stronger way, and it just could have had so much more oomph in the storyline. But you know, that being said, for the most part, it was really watchable as soon as you're progressing past the first act. So from a cast and characters point of view, one of the reasons that I absolutely love Scooby-Doo is that it has really iconic characters, and they are really well defined, and so you can play with them in a really good way, which I feel like this movie special does in a really good way. So first up, of course, we have to talk about Velma. So finally, it really does address head on the fact that she is a lesbian. Like I said, you have seen this being done before, for example, in Mystery Incorporated. She dated someone that was voiced by Linda Cardellini, who played Velma in the live-action movie, and there was a bit of a reunion between Linda Cardellini and Matthew Lillard, which I thought was really cool in Mystery Incorporated. I'm the biggest fan of Mystery Incorporated. So, you know, you have seen it happen before, but they really do deal with it head-on in this movie. And I also love the fact that, like I said, they do keep the character intact in terms of being so out of her comfort zone in relationships, as she is a little bit bashful in all of the relationships that you have seen her in the past, and this one is of course no different. But at the same time, the reason why Velma is so brilliant and such an integral team member, as she really does bring the brains and the mystery solving aspect in all of the different episodes and movie interpretations. So this one is really brilliant in how it fully represents the Velma character, we also have Coco Diablo, who I feel like was a really well layered and realized and developed villain. She felt like a classic Disney villain. Loved the way in which the voice actress was just really elevating her, and her look was really, really cool, and I feel like she was really iconic. And of course, Velma is having a big crush on her as well. And then on top of that, she is the mastermind behind all of the villains having their costumes. I feel like a number of different shows, film and animated shows, are really exploring this. For example, She-Hulk having their own costume designer, Invincible having the costume designer for Omni-Man and his son, and all of the other heroes as well. So this isn't anything brand new, but it is really, really cool to see it here nonetheless. We then of course have Fred Jones, who I absolutely love. I feel like Fred Jones is such a brilliant character. Sometimes he can be a little bit aloof in terms of everything that's going on, but over here they really did delve into the best aspects of the Fred Jones character in terms of really connecting his whole identity to mystery solving. And so when that is removed, where on earth does Fred Jones really stand? Where on earth does he sit? His love for the mystery van machine, even though it's been fully destroyed, he doesn't want to accept that. He still wants to try to keep it intact. I feel like Fred Jones was so fascinating. And then literally how he flips from zero to hero when a mystery then does come his way, and the way in which he is so euphoric and happy because of this, I thought was so interesting. Daphne was just questioning her place in the group. Again, you have seen this storyline narrative playing out a number of different times before, but at least they kind of gave her something to do. And Scooby and Shaggy, again, of course, are absolutely loving food as usual, but I did love the fact that actually these two characters are a little bit more layered, as unintentionally they are helping the group and their love and desire for trick-or-treating and getting as much candy as they want and having all of this freedom. But, you know, I feel like they didn't delve into it that much, but you could feel underlying currents of, you know, them do love mysteries underneath it all as well. And so from a cast and characters point of view, I have to say Trick or Treat was actually really, really good. The visual representation of Trick or Treat, however, I couldn't really get behind, as it does definitely take a lot of inspiration for the very early days of the Scooby-Doo animated show, and of course the Guess Who recently released show, which I couldn't really get behind, as firstly I absolutely loved Mystery Incorporated, which I do feel like is the gold standard for Scooby-Doo, but I just feel like this style and aesthetic just doesn't work that well, as I much prefer Mystery Incorporated, but also just the modern day look and age for all of those Scooby-Doo characters and how they've been realized in a modern space. And that's actually why I really love the straight-to-video releases, as they do take a lot more inspiration from the look and feel of how they would look nowadays. So unfortunately, from a visuals point of view and cinematography point of view, I couldn't really get behind Trick or Treat. So from a comparisons point of view, I am one of the biggest Scooby-Doo fans. I have watched and reviewed every single one of the straight-to-video releases, as I just love all of them. But I just feel like, you know, especially comparing it to last year's release, the one that was released this time last year, I have to say, you know, Trick or Treat is a lot stronger than Courage the Cowardly Dog, which I just felt like did not work at all. But comparing it to the wider catalogue of other movies, I would say it's somewhere in the middle. It's not as good as the brilliant other releases, for example, Happy Halloween, Abracadabra-Doo, and Camp Scare, which was so brilliant. So I feel like, you know, this is probably a bit of a mid-tier Scooby-Doo straight-to-video release, so I'd put Trick or Treat in the middle of all of them so far. So overall, with Trick or Treat Scooby-Doo, you know, it was an enjoyable movie. I feel like it does have some really, really, really brilliant themes in there, and character representations were done really, really well. However, unfortunately, I feel like the visuals didn't work that well, and it just isn't the best Scooby-Doo movie out there. As when they use the formula and fully embrace the darker aspects of Scooby-Doo, I just have some really layered and integrated mystery solving, then, you know, this franchise can be absolutely untouchable and absolutely incredible. But I just feel like, you know, Trick or Treat, as a result of all of those reasons, is a bit mid-tier. And so for all of those reasons, I'm going to give Trick or Treat Scooby-Doo a solid 6.5 out of 10. Now I'd love to hear what you thought of this film, so please let me know in the comment section below. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you in my next video.